Alright guys, it is the weekend, so if it's going to be anything like last week, we are probably going to just trade sideways and have a crab market for the next 2 days, but there is the potential for that volatility as I spoke of in my last video, so we will be watching out. Let's see what the weekend brings to us. Are the market makers going to be asleep like they were last week within this area here? You can see very similar price action. We swept down, grabbed liquidity from these previous lows within here, swung fail them, and then we traded completely sideways for the next 2 days before the following week opened, which is when we did get that big volatility to the downside. Could we see a similar thing here where we just trade sideways for the next 2 days, and then coming Monday we either swing violently to the upside or downside? And I would say that's a big possibility. And what direction do I actually predict for us to go after we do get out of this potential range we might be stuck in during the weekend here? And as we talked about in my last video, I believe we're going to squeeze up to $74,000. Structurally, we are still holding everything we need to be holding here. 4-hour bullish divergence. This trend here is something we're going to be watching. If price does come down a little bit here, maybe, try to dip back with inside the swing failure level, are we going to go ahead and hold this trend? I would expect us to. A third drive onto this 4-hour bullish divergence makes a lot of sense to me. You can see we're still kind of struggling with the value area low of our month, so we'll also be watching out if we can reclaim and backtest that level as support to confirm this was in fact your low. So let's see if we can get this to happen right here. This would be amazing to see on the chart, and I do believe that is what we're going to see. I mean, we have gone ahead and backtested the sweep level into support. If you remember in my last video when we were on Trading Light over here, I talked about how we had single prints up in this area right here. We did go ahead and actually grab all of those single prints, reject off the level, and backtest the sweep level, which is what I anticipated to happen. So confirming this back into support is really nice. Not only do we structurally do that, but we also have a failed auction at this level. You can see 110 Bitcoin being shorted at the Pico low of this wick versus the 0 Bitcoin being longed, but we did go ahead and bounce off that level, showing there was absorption at this level and that the Binance USDT perpetuals pair did fail to auction at that level, and this is the biggest volume pair in Bitcoin. So whenever you fail an auction on these perps contracts, that is going to act as big support, and this will be another level we want to be watching out for. Are we going to hold this level, or are we going to break it? Because if we break that, that's going to untrap the shorts, and it would indicate that the failed auction is now somewhat invalidated. So we want to watch this. Is the failed auction going to hold as the low? Are we going to come down, sweep this, still hold the sweep as support, but make another failed auction? That is something that can happen too. So I'll make sure to watch the order flow, keep you guys updated in the Discord if I do see anything interesting on that side of things. Something to note that is more on the bearish side of things. You can see on our open interest down here, we had higher lows, meaning positions were being opened throughout this range here, and we see higher lows on CVD within this range right here, which indicates that those positions being opened were long positions, yet price did not follow through. So you have a divergence of longs being opened while price is trending down, which indicates absorption and that the longs are on the wrong side of the market. But this is on a very short-term time frame, so it's not too indicative of what is really going to happen here on the charts. That's not really enough evidence for me to have a bearish confirmation, but that's something to take note of, right? Are we going to be able to get a reversal here on price to start making the higher highs here, and then actually those longs would be on the right side of the market? So this is something to watch, right? Is price going to be able to accept back up into these levels? Because that would be extremely bullish. That would indicate that these longs are now untrapped from the market and that the market is not truly bearish. Pulling our fibs here just to see where we're at when it comes to that. You can see we did bounce off of the 0.5 very nicely. That is where you want to find support. The higher up on fibs you can find support, the more bullish price action is. So the fact we didn't even get down to this golden pocket before finding support is something I like to see. But as we talked about before, this 886 has been acting as a big support level previously, so it's certainly not out of the question we would come all the way down to the 886 and grab more of those long positions, possibly, taking out all of your trapped positions that are kind of top long in this range within here, but still holding this low as support. I will say though, I like where we're holding right now. The fact that we cannot close candles below the sweep level is what you want to see. You want this to hold as support in here. You don't really want to see this broken. That would not be the best sign in the world. But as we talked about, if this were to break and we were to come down, make a new low here on price, not to worry. This is our last level of support. We still have liquidity behind 64,500, and we do have plenty of buyers within the order books here looking for exactly that sort of thing. So that level is certainly a possibility in there that can still be a bullish correction, right? It's all just probabilities. We're not trying to predict the future here, just trying to give you all the different possibilities and the probabilities of them playing out. So that's something to keep in the back of your head, right? We talked about how there was a lot of shorts trapped within this deviation in my last video and that we needed to squeeze squeeze them before, I would expect to actually come down. We have done that. So you can look at our open interest here. You can see during this wick up into our single prints that happened like right after I filmed that last video, we did squeeze out most of the shorts that had opened down here. So there's no reason we can't actually, do that secondary sweep other than structurally. I mean, it's just more probabilistic we are to hold this level, because swing failure above a level tells you probably going to hold that level, probably going to squeeze on up here. And we do have continual bullish continuation from our long positions here. Jumping into VLO data now, what is this going to tell us? Well, down here at the bottom, we can see our funding rates and aggregated premiums for those leveraged positions, those option traders. What direction are they having to pay interest? And right now you can see the funding rate is trending down and the premiums are in the negative, which tells me the majority are on the side of shorts right now, and is why you're seeing the rates needed to be paid towards those positions being more in favor of longs right now. Essentially, this means if we go over to our just average not weighted and open interest, the funding rate across exchanges is 0.0049%. So essentially, if you're in a long right now, you're having to pay this percent towards your position. Whereas if you're in a options trade right now, if you look at the average, it's actually shorts that are paying money towards those long positions. So it's essentially you're paying interest towards the minority of traders on the exchange. And historically, when you see your funding rates and premiums in the red, it is time to get long because the majority is wrong. And that's exactly what we see right now with these premiums in the red, just like they were back over here at the lows. Let's go ahead and look at my levels indicator template real quick on TradingView. You can see we are finding nice support on the weekly value area low as well as our previous day's value area low. So finding support right there at that sweep level. Got some nice volume confluence for that as well. Now we just want to see if we can accept it back into our current day's value area, getting on top of our value area low right here, and then going ahead and hopefully testing the entire range back into support. This is something we'll want to be seeing on price for that continuation to the upside. If we do, however, fail off this level, we could come back down, test the value area lows once again. We also have more volume levels. If you pull a fixed range of this range within here, we do have value area low of this range within here, which hasn't quite been tested yet. So it could make sense to actually come down and actually pierce through this level before rotating back up, because we did back test the value area high of the fixed range. So, whenever you see rejection of value area high, it is likely to get that full rotation all the way back down to value area low, which we already kind of have done. But if we were to reject this one more time, we didn't fully pierce it. So a secondary test of that could make sense. This is the big level to watch out for. Sweep level as well as 3 different value area low confluences within there. If we are not able to hold this, at least on a swing failure pattern, right, we could dip down in here before coming back up. As long as we're getting closes above this level, that's what we want to see. If not, then you're probably looking at that 64.5 level that we were talking about earlier. So I'd say it's still pretty 50-50 on what we're going to do here on Bitcoin. My base case remains the same. This is probably your low. We're probably going to hold it as support, and we are going to head on up here. And a big confluence I'm using for that is our altcoin market in general. You can see that we have swung fail this previous low that we had talked about, right? We had some poor lows within the charts here on total 3. Swing failing this level and getting on top of it convincingly is what we wanted to see. And I do expect this to now flip into support. And this is where you see the altcoins start their rallies to the upside, which in my opinion will be the start of the altcoin season. Historically, when you do compare fractals from 2020, we might just be very early on the altcoin market, and I would not be surprised at all if this pullback we've been having since March is the capitulation before we do see max euphoria in the markets and that final alt season. But we do kind of need to hold this level on a fractal basis. If we were to break these lows back here, that would deviate previous cycles, and is another indication that tells me we probably are going to hold here, and we are going to head on up here, because I think most people are expecting another drop in Bitcoin, and they're thinking it's going to be another bullish correction. Sorry to say, if we get another drop on Bitcoin and you get another drop on total 3 and you start closing candles down here, I mean, sure, that's possible, but it would not be a bullish correction. And with macro events going on right now, with the Fed cutting relatively soon, and we do see S&P at all-time highs, I do expect the expansion into the market fairly soon here, and that is why I do not believe we are going to break down. I think holding this level makes the most sense. Let's go ahead and resume the strength in the altcoin market and hold the golden pocket within here. You can see this is another confluence for the low being in right now on your altcoins, is that you're in the golden pocket. You should not be losing this if you are to maintain a bullish structure. And we are actually seeing strength in the altcoins versus Bitcoin. If we go over to the Bitcoin dominance, we have tapped this third trend of a lower high within here, and we are now starting to fall. On today's candle, you can see while Bitcoin is trading sideways and kind of down, altcoins have been starting to make their move up, which is why you're seeing the Bitcoin dominance here fall. And what we want to see here is for us to finally get under this macro trend that we've had all the way since 2017, and following the backtest of this trend, hopefully hunting back down to the lows here on Bitcoin dominance, which we would expect to see, since historically this is what happens every bull market. During this time right here is where you see altcoin season happen and all of your risk on assets go absolutely parabolic. So yeah, that is all I got for you guys today. Thank you for all the support on my recent videos. We are near 1,000 subscribers, so make sure to hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying the content. And also, if you have any questions about anything I talked about or just want to join the community for this channel, link to my Discord is in the description down below. I also have a promotion going on right now with BingX, so if you use that link in the description, you can get a bunch of rewards, deposit bonuses, that sort of thing, up to $7,300. So make sure to go check that out. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.